KPBS On Demand is supported by Splatero, helping homeowners pay off debt by offering streamlined access to your home's equity with no additional monthly payments or new debt. Splatero provides a lump sum payment in exchange for a share of your home's future value. Pre-qualification is available at splatero.com.
Good morning. I'm Annika Colbert. It's Monday, July 26th, banking while black in San Diego. More on that next, but first, let's do the headlines. Plans to put protected bike lanes on 30th and North Park are near completion. The lanes have been a hot topic in the neighborhood, with some business owners fearing the loss of street parking will hurt their livelihoods. Laura Worm is the owner of Bivouac Cider Works on 30th.
Businesses are going to survive. They're going to come up with a way to get customers to those businesses. I hope that the city is thinking about them. I hope that the bikers are thinking about them.
Currently, the bike lanes stretch for 1.5 miles from Juniper Street to Polk Avenue. In a few months, the city plans on extending them north by another mile to Adams Avenue. San Diego Congressman Mike Levin has created a bipartisan congressional caucus to explore solutions to nuclear waste stored in 80 locations across the country. Levin says the federal government is responsible for the waste, but that the caucus was formed to expedite federal action. Both parties believe the current system of spent nuclear fuel storage is not sustainable, and they're working towards finding a permanent repository and interim storage. A male snow leopard at the San Diego Zoo has preliminarily tested positive for the virus that causes COVID-19. Zoo staff made the announcement on Friday. The day before that, wildlife care specialists had noticed the snow leopard had a cough and a nasal discharge. According to a statement from the zoo, the snow leopard is doing okay for now and hasn't shown any further symptoms beyond a cough and a runny nose. From KPBS, you're listening to San Diego News Now. Stay with me for more of the local news you need.
KPBS On Demand is supported by UC San Diego's Art Power, presenting cellist Joshua Roman, performing from his album Immunity, alongside music by J.S. Bach and more. Sunday, June 22nd at UC San Diego's Epstein Family Amphitheater. Reserve your tickets at artpower.ucsd.edu.
A San Diego man says he was the victim of racial discrimination when he tried to cash an insurance check at a local bank, something known as banking while black. KPBS's Amitha Sharma has more.
John Pittman III is a lawyer who also spent 19 years working in the finance industry. He knows the banking business.
They verify if there's an issue.
So the San Diego resident was prepared in early 2020 when he went to a Bank of America branch in Pacific Beach to cash a $12,000 check from an insurance settlement. The payment from the Geico insurance company was a B of A check, but just in case, he brought additional paperwork from Geico and 3 forms of identification: a driver's license, passport, and birth certificate. Yet that wasn't enough for the branch's assistant manager.
She came back and then she was telling me that she can't cash it because my name had the 3rd on my identification, but the 3rd wasn't written on the check.
But the suffix "the 3rd" on Pittman's name was written on the rest of the Geico documents. He suggested the assistant manager contact Geico to confirm his identity.
And she's like, no, we can't. Even if we call to verify, we have no way to notate that we verified.
Pittman says he called Geico on his cell phone, put the insurance representative on speakerphone to address the assistant manager's concerns.
And the assistant manager says, well, I don't know who you are. You could be just one of his friends he's calling.
Pittman again asked her to call Geico. She refused to make that call, but said she made another.
Said she's going to talk to the manager. And she comes back and says, we've notified the authorities. You're trying to steal the money from the real John Pittman.
Pittman says on the advice of the Geico representative, he exited the bank but was left with an aching thought.
This would not have happened if I wasn't a black person. I just cannot see them calling the police on every person that they get a check that doesn't have junior or the 3rd or whatever. That just doesn't make sense.
Pittman says the B of A branch manager told him more than a year later that the assistant manager was only pretending to call the police. KPBS tried to interview that B of A branch manager, but he declined. B of A corporate spokesman Bill Hallidan says it is standard industry practice not to cash a check if the recipient name and identification don't precisely match to protect against potential fraud. But is it standard industry practice to accuse a customer of stealing and then threaten to call the police, as Pittman says B of A did with him?
It's unfortunately not uncommon for us to hear stories of racialized and racist behavior in financial institutions.
Hudson Munoz is a research analyst with the Committee for Better Banks, which represents industry workers and consumers.
It is a problem when the first response at any organization is to involve the police rather than to treat the customer as a truthful person, especially given the materials that this person had to back up the identity.
The term advocates use to describe these situations is banking while black. Black customers have long complained of being confronted with skepticism, hurdles, and calls to police while seeking basic transactions. Ed Golding is executive director of MIT's Golub Center for Finance and Banking. He says race isn't likely the only issue in Pittman's case. The size of the check and the fact that Pittman wasn't a customer were also factors, but he says they don't excuse the assistant manager's alleged actions.
It seems like from the facts of this case, it was a very inappropriate way of saying, go away, we don't want to serve you.
Bank of America ultimately sent a letter to Pittman standing by its policy. However, the letter also stated, quote, "We regret any inconvenience you may have encountered as a result of this matter and apologize for any service provided that did not meet your expectations." But Pittman wanted the bank to apologize specifically for the assistant manager's behavior. He also asked for monetary damages, which the bank refused. He says he still feels demoralized.
It makes you feel 2 inches tall. It makes you feel targeted.
And that reporting from KPBS's Amita Sharma. Coming up,
there's a lot of good things that came out of that case, and a lot of people's lives changed for the better, and we got legislation passed, and a lot of good things have come, but at the expense of my life, though, at the same time.
a man arrested under a controversial gang law for crimes he had nothing to do with. He was later released and the charges were dropped, but not before he spent 7 months in jail. We'll have that story next, just after the break.
KPBS On Demand is supported by Splatero, helping homeowners pay off debt by offering streamlined access to your home's equity with no additional monthly payments or new debt. Splatero provides a lump sum payment in exchange for a share of your home's future value. Pre-qualification is available at splatero.com.
In the summer of 2014, a swarm of police arrested Aaron Harvey outside Las Vegas. The San Diego native was charged as a test case for a law that had never been used before. The law said someone could be charged with conspiracy for belonging to the same gang as other people who had carried out a series of gang shootings. A judge dismissed the charges against him, but not before he spent 7 months in jail. Now, Harvey has graduated from UC Berkeley. KPBS reporter Claire Tregesser tells the story of what his last 3 years have been like.
I remember sitting in jail and a Berkeley commercial came on. And I remember telling, his name is DeAndre Cooper. We were cellies on the same case. And I was like, if they ever let us out of here, I'm going to Berkeley. And everybody, you sound stupid.
This is Aaron Harvey in November 2018 during his Thanksgiving break from his first semester at UC Berkeley. I interviewed him in the midst of what would be a huge challenge for him, graduating from one of California's best universities.
Sometimes I feel like if I don't graduate from this school, I can never come back to San Diego. You know what I mean? Because it's just a lot of pressure, like I got to be on my midterm and flipped out, It's like, one, I've never gotten a B on anything. So I was like, that was very humbling. But then at the same time, I'm like, oh, I hope this doesn't mess up my GPA, because I have to have a high GPA because I got to go to Harvard, for law school. But I'm putting all this pressure. It's like, chill out. It's a midterm. It's a B. Like, relax.
The community in general kind of did place a lot of, I don't know if I want to say expectations, but kind of a burden of being successful.
That's Khalid Alexander, a community leader who's known Harvey for a long time. He says Harvey's case, which so many people saw as unjustly putting him, plus rapper Brandon Duncan, in prison, made the expectations that much higher for a true redemption story.
He also, as an individual, I think can represent kind of what it's like to be Black in this country, what it's like to be an African American in this country, where you do have to work harder. If you do mess up, there's going to be more attention.
There's a lot of good things that came out of that case, and a lot of people's lives changed for the better. And, we got legislation passed, and a lot of good things have come, but at the expense of my life, though, at the same time. So it's almost the same thing with, Berkeley now.
Harvey remembers people who've left his neighborhood in Southeast San Diego before. They went to college or law school, and when they came back, they talked differently and dressed differently. He resolved to not do that, but it's challenging.
I've had professors tell me, okay, we need to use more academic language. And I challenged her, well, who set the standard for what's academic language, right? So you want me to speak white?
2 years and one pandemic later, Harvey graduated with a degree in political science.
Well, what's up?
Yeah, congratulations.
Thank you.
I talked to him again, this time at an outdoor park with ducks around us instead of a studio. I played for him a few of his old clips about applying to only Ivy League law schools, about having a panic attack over the B on his midterm, and he laughed.
So one, I was like, wow, I don't think I'm...
Do you remember that?
Yes. I feel none of that anymore.
Now, Harvey does seem lighter, less exhausted, less weighed down, and with some of the ease and carefreeness you'd expect a brand new college graduate to have.
I know. And again, it was guilt and everything else. I was trying to take care of everything else, and I wasn't taking care of myself. And now I'm like, I got to take care of myself.
Claire Tregesser, KPBS News.
For a longer version of this story, listen to the KPBS Investigates podcast. That's it for the podcast today. Be sure to catch KPBS Midday Edition at noon on KPBS Radio, or check out the Midday Edition podcast. You can also watch KPBS Evening Edition at 5 o'clock on KPBS Television. And as always, you can find more San Diego news online at kpbs.org. I'm Annika Colbert. Thanks for listening, and have a great day.
KPBS On Demand is supported by UC San Diego's Art Power, presenting cellist Joshua Roman, performing from his album Immunity, alongside music by J.S. Bach and more. Sunday, June 22nd at UC San Diego's Epstein Family Amphitheater. Reserve your tickets at artpower.ucsd.edu.